Welcome everybody to another TABI Live, and today I've got the great pleasure of welcoming onto this TABI Live Roxi Sim Hermsen. And Roxi is the artist and creator of the Pearls of Wisdom Tarot, the Sacred Feminine Oracle and the Sidewayz Tarot. She's going to tell us all about her process this evening, and also she's going to introduce us and tell us all about her online auction, where you can come online and you can bid on her works of art. And her artwork is absolutely stunning. So I'm just going to let Roxi into the live. And welcome everybody, and thank you so much for joining us.
Are we working?
Hi.
Hey.
It works. How are you?
Good. It doesn't work on my computer. That's the problem.
No problem. There's always something new with these lives, to consider. And I didn't actually realize that you couldn't do a live using the laptop. So there you go. It must just work with phones.
Yeah, and then of course I have two Instagrams, so I had to switch to my other one and trying to do all this in my head. Like I said, it's been a little crazy lately. Have to calm down now.
Yeah, the universe throws us some technical lessons. I've had a few.
Exactly. It's a love-hate relationship, right? Like I was saying before, I started this when was on dial-up network, back in the 90s, right? So what it's amazing what you can do, but it's also sometimes really frustrating when you feel like you don't have it all together or your equipment's old or whatever, right? All of those kind of things. So
Oh, absolutely. And with the introduction of things like AI and everything, getting acquainted with all the new things that are coming out, it's it's a minefield.
it's like when I was teaching high school, I was one of the first classes to teach computers, right? And I was using Amiga computers, doing animation and
Yeah.
all of that kind of stuff, right? And so it's just been a steep learning curve since then.
Yeah. And so you have been painting, and I know that you paint with lots of different, you paint with acrylics, you do fine art, you do a lot of graphic art. So how did you start out with it?
Well, I started out as a potter, actually,
Oh,
um, doing clay work, and I had a pottery with my husband for 25 years. And I also taught high school, and I taught high school art, and I developed a career prep media program with video and production and all of that back in with old Amiga computers. So people who know about those will probably be chuckling. Anyways, and then in the mid 90s, I actually I lost my health to Lyme disease. I lived in the forest in the backwoods of British Columbia, and we have ticks.
okay.
So a little warning out there for everybody. And so I had to leave teaching. And then a year after that, we lost our youngest son also to Lyme. And so I was kind of in a very depressed state for a while. And then we had this amazing opportunity offered us to go and live in Grenada in the West Indies for a year. And my husband worked as a pottery technician at a pottery in Grenada, production manager and everything. And our oldest son went to an international school there, and I was at home. So I took down 200 feet of canvas and a suitcase full of paints and decided that I was going to take up painting.
Okay.
And so that's kind of where I got into the art. And that's actually where like all my colors come from, because I started painting in the tropics, right?
Yeah.
And so when I returned home, um, my mom passed away. And so again, I was kind of like the roller coaster ride of life. And I had, prior to getting sick, I had taken art therapy and counseling at in the university. And so I knew that art had the power to heal, that it was art therapy. It would help me get through. And that's what I found when I was in Grenada. Painting bright colors and uplifting imagery and everything was very helpful in coping with grief. And so I had done a bunch of paintings when I came home from a bunch of my grandmother had brought me dolls from around the world. So I did an international doll series. And my friend said, "Oh, those look like tarot cards." And I'm like, "Okay, I've kind of heard of tarot cards, but what are they?" So they gave me a few different decks to look at, and I'm looking through them going, well, I could probably do that. Might take me 2 years. Well, it took me 7.
Okay.
And I didn't start small. The painting that's behind you is the sun, and it's 30 inches by 40 inches. So, and there's the world there. So it's a good size
Oh, I love
painting,
the world. That's
right?
beautiful. Yeah.
And then
That's
the sun, there's the sun in the back there. I'm trying to do this backwards, but it's kind of
yeah.
left is right and right is left. So I started painting it, and then, but I really had no idea, is there an audience for this or what? And I'm a pretty non-linear person,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't like say, okay, I'm going to do all the major arcana first, or I'm going to do all the aces first. A friend gifted me a Swiss deck, which didn't have much for imagery, and I liked that because I didn't just want to copy somebody else's deck or make a clone deck, which I didn't even really know what that was. I just was coming as an artist, so I wanted to be original. So I wanted to use my own symbolism. I've done a lot of symbolism in my other work. I've done a lot in my clay work of goddess symbolism and goddess sculpture. I was like from the Venus figurines and the goddess sculpt figures. And so people gifted me a book called Tussie Mussies, which is the language of flowers. And someone else gifted me a book on runes, and somebody else gifted me a book on crystals. And so I had all of these sources, and I thought, well, that's how I'm going to do it. And of course, I had a lot of other books, like from Mary Kay Greer and Rachel Pollack and a few other ones that I could kind of learn what each card meant, and then I took it all into words and just had all that. And then I thought, okay, now how can I symbolize or create symbols that indicate this for people to be able to read the painting, right? So the language of flowers is used throughout, like with the sun back there, it's the white and red roses, which is creative energy. And so I actually had the books and everything that I wrote have write-ups in the back so that you can look up what those symbols mean to give you greater meaning. And then I also used runes, which I think at that time only Pamela Steele's deck, which also was published the same year, had runes in it as well. So I just kind of put together a word collage and then put together the paintings. And I have all of them have this archway that's in the back. So I actually had a big piece of cardboard cut out so I could put it up against the canvas and trace out the archway. And then everyone either has the sun or a moon or a combination of sun and moon at the top. And then at the bottom, everyone has like a flag at the bottom that says what the painting is. And so that's the way that I was able over 7 years to keep the paintings cohesive. And so that the deck would read as a cohesive deck.
And tell us the name of your deck, please.
Oh, it's called the Pearls of Wisdom Tarot.
And that one was really, and you self-published that, did you?
This one is now self-published. I was first published in 2007. I had a 10,000 deck published, and they were distributed globally. But then they found that the decks had flaws in them, and so 9,000 of that 10,000 run ended up in the Houston landfill.
Oh, what a shame.
It was pretty gutting, especially after 7 years and all of the rest of that. And then they published a smaller run after that, and it also had issues. So I took my rights back.
Okay.
several years later. And then I re-photographed all the paintings with a Zeiss lens, like a really high resolution lens. And then my son, who's my techie guy, gotta love my son, he's just amazing. He put it all up on the Game Crafter out of the United States. And there's several positives and some negatives about it, but mostly positives. One, people that are buying it know that it's an authentic deck,
Yeah.
because there's so many out there now that have been pirated. So it's printed just for you, right? And it's shipped directly to you.
Yeah.
So it goes, you know, I know you have a Sidewayz, so it goes directly to you, as opposed to having to go overseas, floated, send out to all the stores and all of that kind of stuff. The Game Crafter is printed in the US, and they use like a really nice cardstock that's really easy to shuffle. This one's quite old. There's no corners to, you know, fold it over or anything. And I can also make it in two sizes. So I have a poker size and a jumbo size.
Yes.
And you can see with the painting at the back how well the colors go
Yeah, they do.
with it. And the resolution on these decks is much higher than the first two editions.
Okay.
That being said, the first two editions, if you have one, they're probably worth anywhere from $200 to $800. I've seen them up on eBay because they're out of print, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so that's one of the reasons that I do it, and I also get to see where they go. So that's really awesome because I've seen many have gone to the UK and Australia and all over the United States. Some have gone to Japan and Taiwan. And so that was kind of my goal when I started, was to have my decks go around the world. And so my goal now is to have my paintings go around the world. It's been 24 years now since I started. And they've been in storage. I did one show in 2011 of my major arcana. And then I thought one day I would do like a big, huge show. And then by the time now I'm 70, I kind of went, oh, I don't think I'm going to do that. And my son suggested to do an auction. And so it took a while to find a place that you can do auctions. A lot of the art auctions out there are for charities. And I'm like, well, I'm the charity this time. You know, when I started this, I thought it would be my retirement fund, and I'm retired now. So now is the time to get it out there. And I'm being a bit of the fool yet again. I don't think this has ever been done in the tarot realm. I don't think anybody has put their original arts even out for sale.
I haven't heard about that. I've never attended any of these online auctions, so for me, it's a first. Yes.
Yeah, and it's definitely a first for me. And you know, it's been a lot of work. I've filmed each of the paintings close up so that you can see all the brush strokes and the signature and the date that it was painted. And I did like a little voiceover, so I have all of those up on excuse me, my YouTube channel. And then my son is in the process right now. We're just in the process. That's why things are a little bit crazy, I think. But anyways, of putting it all up on their site. So the site, the company that I'm working with is out of the UK.
Okay.
It's called iRostrum, and one of the reasons I felt good about working with them was that they auction pottery. And a lot of the potters that they auction, well-known potters, I knew who they were. So it was like, okay, pottery, this is a good connection, right?
Yeah.
And they've been wonderful. We've Zoomed with them a couple of times, and they've been super helpful and everything. So the bidding will happen in October, and then the viewing will happen this month. And I also have for people who are really interested, they can get on the VIP list, which will give them first dibs on everything. And that's through my email, roxiartwork@gmail.com. So ROXI artwork. And I also have a page on Facebook called the Pearls of Wisdom Tarot Auction. And they can go on there, and I post up videos and all of that kind of stuff. And so that gives people a better viewpoint on what it is.
And can you send these links afterwards so we can put them in the post as well? So once we put the video up, we can show you those links so you'll know where to go for the auction and where to look beforehand as well. Brilliant.
Thank you so much. You're awesome. I'm so glad to meet you too. We've been friends on
Oh, yeah.
Facebook for a long time, so this is so nice to be face to face. And yeah, so I have that set up, and I will do all of that, and then I will be shipping internationally. I put a pre-sale up before the auction, just through Facebook, just through people I know on Facebook, and I've sold 10 of the original paintings, and they've gone to New York, Vermont, Pennsylvania, Maryland, California, West Vancouver, and BC, and Armstrong, BC. So I've already figured out all the packing part,
Yeah.
so they're double boxed, and I put pool noodles around them so that they float inside the box. And then I ship via FedEx. So I'll take, like, payments will be through PayPal, or if they're in Canada, e-transfer, or if they want to do like a bank draft. And then I'll ship through FedEx.
Okay.
So that's kind of how it will go.
And what size are they as well?
The paintings are 30 by 40 inches, so they're quite large.
Yes.
And there's parts of the painting. I can actually maybe bring one closer to, since I'm on the phone here. You see this one. There's iridescent paints as well on them, and you can't really see that in the cards, but they do kind of pick up on the colors in the lights and the different kinds of lights. So
Oh,
there's some close-up shots.
beautiful.
Anyone
So beautiful.
notice with the sun, she has two different colored eyes?
Yes.
But that's a little bit of, see if I can get close enough and in the light so you can see that I too have two different
Nice.
colored eyes.
Yeah.
So I kind of say this is a very rare offering. For one reason, people with two different colored eyes, we're very rare number of us on the planet, 0.01% of the population.
Oh,
And what I love about it is that it's all races. So it's kind of this really kind of rare thing that happens, but it happens across all races. So I really kind of like that part.
wow.
And so I have given myself a few cameos through the deck, and not necessarily my colored eyes, but different colored eyes. So that's where it comes from. I'm not just trying to be cool or whatever.
Wow. I
It's
love
actually real. So
that. And of course, you've signed them at the bottom,
yeah,
so you've got your
yeah.
signature on there as well.
They're signed and dated the year that they were painted. And so yeah, and then when I finished, I actually did finish the majors a little sooner than the rest of them. And I did make a little self-published majors deck at the time, and had it locally printed and all of that kind of stuff. And then yeah, it's just been this really, really long, intense project. I used to have on my studio, I had only 56 more to go. Keep going, Roxy, is kind of cheering myself on as I was doing it. And then, like, what do you do with them? When I first started, I had a house and I had tons of storage and all of that kind of stuff. And then we moved to a townhouse, and all my closets were full of all these paintings, right? And then we moved to another townhouse, and they were all under the stairs for like 9 years, like just well packed and everything. And then I just moved last year again. So now they're at my son and daughter-in-law's basement. My daughter-in-law's like, okay, let's get these moving. And I'm going, yeah, it's time to get them moving, and because what am I going to do? Just, leave them to my kids to sell? That's not really very fair. So, although they might make more money once I'm gone, that's possible. But anyways, the idea is just to kind of get them out there now and get them into people's homes where they would appreciate owning them, and the people that have bought them just love them. They're just really thrilled to own them. The woman who bought the moon, Rhonda, she looks like the woman in the painting,
Oh,
which is
yes, she
quite
said that.
uncanny. Yeah, and that's why she wanted it. And she had known the paintings and the deck since the very beginning, since the Eclectic Tarot group and all of that. So I'm thinking that there's probably other people that have kind of followed this deck through its journey and my journey. And the best thing that I can say in the end of it is it was a healing journey for me, and then I've also heard from people who do readings that they have found the readings to be really helpful for their clients, partly because it's the colors are uplifting and the imagery is uplifting, and even the tough cards, everyone has a way out. Every card has a way out. The only way out is through, of course, but on the other end, there's still other things, like the Tower card, which is the one everybody just like, I don't want that one. I have a string of pearls that is broken, and then the pearls have gone across the bottom of the painting and sprouted like little leaves around it. So it's kind of like those pearls which were contained before are now let loose to go someplace else and further grow. And I look at that as my experience losing my son, and just that horrible loss.
Yeah.
And yet then we had this opportunity to go to Grenada and live there, and we thought, well, our reality changed, why not change our reality? And then I took up painting, and so all this new came from it. And I guarantee you I would take back everything if I could trade back, but I always felt that Shay, our son, sent us to Grenada. When he was sick, he wanted to go to Jamaica, and the Grenada situation happened on dial-up network,
Yeah.
and they paid our way down and a place to live and a wage and our son to go to international school. So it was really a gift in many ways, and the people of Grenada were just absolutely wonderful, very beautiful people. And I got to go back again in 2019 with an artist friend of mine, and we painted murals in a playground at a local school and did our own show and had a really nice 2-month trip there. So it's part, you can see like in the sun there's the palm trees in the back, right? So throughout this series, there are little homages to Grenada and my friends there as well. So it's very personal, Jack. I didn't just like pick up a Rider-Waite and make my version of it. I would say I lived each card as I painted it, and people that I know showed up in the cards. My husband showed up as the hermit. Well, he's totally a hermit. And the fellow who gifted me the Swiss deck, he showed up as the emperor, and so there was just all that. I don't know if you want to call it uncanny or magical or just not planned, not preconceived. I just kind of let the paintings come through me and accepted how I paint. This is what my hands do. It's not, super detailed and all of that kind of stuff. It has like a fresh brush stroke to it, and joyful and maybe a little whimsical or even a little childlike, kind of working into all of those kind of things so that they're not threatening cards when you lay them down in front of somebody. The readings that I've done, I'm always just kind of blown away by how well they work, and that they do work. And I can't really tell you how they work, but it's always been a really pleasant experience to do, and for some people, very, very profound experiences to have the readings done. So
And you
yeah,
brought
and
all of your experience and all of your memories and all of your passion and poured them into the card. I think that's really important.
yeah, and I think because it was such a difficult process going through before, and that I was able to kind of turn those things around through my art. I think that that's inspiring for other people who are going through difficult times to see that it is possible to overcome. Even the Lyme disease that I had, I went through a 6-year treatment, and I feel better at 70 than I did at 60. So there's sometimes, I'm not saying everybody has a light at the end of the tunnel, but this has been mine and my way through, and just the painting itself. So when I was in Grenada, there we didn't have cameras on our phones. You had to go take a picture and get it produced and made off, right? And that was very expensive. So I kind of just took pictures in my mind to work back to the paintings. And I thought about some of the ways that they speak down there, and I thought, okay, I'm going to take the pain out of painting. I'm just going to do lots of tings, man. So that's kind of where I came with my art.
I love that. It's a great way of, yeah.
You know, and just take the pain of it, right? So I want to set my tings around the world, man. That's kind of where I want to go with. And like I said, I have absolutely wonderful friends down there, and they were a very big part of healing. And some show up in my deck, and yeah, so it's just been that kind of a process. So I don't think there's another deck quite like mine out there.
No. And you've also got your Sidewayz Tarot as well. So that is one that I bought from you
Right.
a few years ago. And I love this one. So you've got the perspective of the reader almost, haven't you? Because you've got the hands, the emphasis on the hands.
Yeah. And
I love
that one. That one was produced over COVID, so also another difficult time, right? That's one of my favorite ones. Yeah, and
time.
yeah,
during times of COVID, yes.
Yeah. And the idea was for me at that time is the world's gone sideways, so why not the tarot, right?
Yeah.
And then I also thought we're all inside now. So I wanted to make it more like an inner deck, right? So that you became the archetypes in the cards, right? You would see it from your viewpoint. Yeah, there's the chariot. There I am. I'm going for it.
I love it. I just love the colors and the vibrancy of these cards. They're just so beautiful.
Yeah, those ones are done in color pencil.
Is that in pencil with these
ones,
right? Okay.
Color pencil, yeah, Prismacolors, yeah, on paper. So they're much smaller, but still they reproduced really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was interesting. When the death card, I had thought about a toe tag, and right, and then sorry, and then I saw this. It was fall, and there was a leaf on the ground, and I picked it up, and I went, no, this is it, because it has a bit more reverence for for death, and that the fact that the leaf, okay, it's gone, but it can be fertilizer for the next generation too, right? So
yeah,
that's what I was thinking. And then I have the Sacred Feminine Oracle.
Yes.
And just a sec, grab it. This is the Sacred Feminine Oracle, and it's also done in pencil crayon, and it's an app. Actually, you can try it. You can get it in your app store, and you can try it for free. So these are color pencil, and actually some of these, let me just find one here quickly. This is from what I did. I didn't have a studio. I didn't have any place to work, so I worked on my lap. I'm a very determined artist. And a lot of these, I had sold the paintings, but I only had little snapshots of them. I didn't really have, or they were at 72 DPI, like we're talking about how technology has increased. And so I did these kind of paintings, and these are the ones that my friends said, oh, those look like tarot cards. And so that was kind of where that came from. And then on the back of them is a write-up for each of them, and some guidance for each of them. And so I can't show you the app because it's on my phone, of course, but the app, you can shuffle the cards, and you can do a 1-card reading or a 5-card reading. And then you get your card, and that you turn them over, and the write-up is on the back. So there's guidance from that card, and a guided meditation at the bottom. And they're all guidance, again, for self-care, for well-being, to take care of yourself. It gives you permission to sleep. And part of that was through my journey of being sick. I had to give myself permission, because I was the Energizer Bunny before. I was tap dancing, I was teaching, I was taking university courses, I had 2 kids, I was painting murals in the community. My family started a science center in a town called Vernon. And and then I just kind of came to this crashing halt and kind of hit the wall, I guess you could say. And so I had to give myself permission that it was okay to sleep. It was okay to rest. It was okay to nourish myself, to take care of myself, and all of that. And so that's what this deck comes from as well. So they're all, here's another one of, yes, surround yourself with beautiful things so that when you wake up in the morning, you've got beauty around you and you can start your day
I like
with
that. That's self-care.
beauty
Yeah.
and self
And
care, right? And um and also like just simple pleasures, right? I wasn't able to do a lot of stuff, but I was still able to enjoy my grandchildren and that kind of thing. Here's another one that was from that International Doll series. So you can see there's the goddess sculpture in the
yeah.
background, and another one up here, and then there's an earth diva and tree spirits in the back. So these were done pre my tarot and kind of were moved into it, and then I recreated them on my lap because I didn't have a studio for that length of time, and again in color pencil. And so the app is through Indigo's apps out of France,
Okay.
and Frederic is just the nicest guy you could ever met. He's yeah, took it all on, and he does it. There's quite a few different apps there, Oracle apps from him, and you could try them all for free. So you get a chance to say do a certain number of the cards that you have access to, and then again it's a very it's only $10 or something. It's not very expensive, and then you've got it on your phone, so you're sitting waiting for an appointment or whatever, or I have anxiety today, what do I need to hear, that kind of thing, right? And so it's out in the world too. So that's what I'm just kind of going, instead of trying to sell in a town where I just moved and nobody knows me, it's time to like just go for it, right?
Yeah,
You know?
go international and go digital. It seems to be the way forward, doesn't it, with a lot of decks now that you can get
Yeah.
apps where you can buy any deck, you could get a ride away, but you can also get other decks, you can get self-published decks and things like that. And you can, like you said, you can do spreads and you can have however many cards. I mean, it's fantastic what you can do
Yeah,
online. Mm.
it is now. And I think in some ways too that also makes this even more so. Like you were talking about AI and stuff like this. There's nothing AI about this. This is all by hand, from the heart, from
That's
personal
yeah.
experience, all of that kind of stuff. And
Mm.
and again, so it fits into that rarity, right? That um, it's just a very, very rich and
Unique.
profound death and unique, right? Like my
Absolutely.
eyes.
Your
And
artwork is stunning. I mean, congratulations. It's such a massive contribution to the tarot world and to the art world as well. And I'm really excited for your auction. I mean, I think that is gonna go so well. You'll be really proud and it's gonna go great. Yeah.
yeah, and I just think that once the first one is the majors, the ones that are left. There's 15 paintings left out of the majors. Um, and then they kind of switched up the way that they were going to do it, and I thought I was going to maybe do another one in maybe February and like go on, but I could actually continue it now. So the next up will be the cups, and I've sold two of the cups already. The ace and the two of cups are in one's in California and one's on the East Coast. So I now have making all these videos. So it's been this really involved process of making videos of all the close-up shots
Okay.
that I've taken, and so people can see all the details. So, and then it just keeps flowing. I'm just going to keep going.
Oh, amazing. And for people just joining us, so Roxy's been talking to us about her process, also about her life and learning the tarot, and about her artwork and how she has created her different decks. And she also talked to us about the auction and the dates that she's going to do it as well and how she's going to do it. But for the people that are just joining us now, could you just give them a quick run through again, just to let them know where they can find your auction and how they can join it?
Sure. So if they would like to get onto the VIP list to begin with, that's the one where they'll get known a little bit ahead of time get the first chance to put their bids in. You go to roxyartwork@gmail.com. So that's ROXI artwork@gmail.com. And then on Facebook, I have the Pearls of Wisdom Tarot auction page, and I'll post links to that. And that's where I've been putting up the videos, and I've got photos of the people who purchased them and quotes and stuff from the people that have purchased the paintings already, and kind of how they feel about it. They were all very excited to be able to do that. And the way the auction will go is there'll be the reserve bid, and then it will be bidding for a certain length of time. I think it'll be 2 weeks, but I'm not really sure because we're still in the process of getting that all happening. And then whoever wins the bid, then they would I would ship to them. And so I'm going to ship via FedEx, and I double box the paintings so they get wrapped in paper, then plastic, then sandwiched in cardboard, and then I put pool noodles around that outside so they stay inside a bigger box, which then is stuffed with paper, and then I send it via FedEx. So, and I insure it as well. So and then the shipping, of course, is on the buyer, as well as the paintings on the buyer. And I'll work through PayPal.
Okay.
And I'll work through in Canada e-transfer. And then I guess like bank drafts or however, like Money Mart or however those kind of things work. But they would be invoiced, and I'll be dealing with everybody individually. So it's not kind of they will be dealing with me personally with all of that. And then of course I'll throw in a print of one of my other arts, and a coupon so they can buy the deck and get a little discount. I don't have a lot of much room there to do that, but it's just enough to help maybe with the shipping or whatever. And the decks are printed in the United States at the Game Crafter, and you order it. It's printed just for you, and then it's shipped right to you. So that's kind of a neat part about it, and you're getting an authentic deck.
And I
And
can highly recommend Roxy's decks as well. I have one myself. I've got the Sidewayz Tarot.
yeah,
It's beautiful.
so this is the gold edition. And I what I did too is because the Game Crafter is flexible, I did like a smaller version as well for people who have smaller hands. And so there's the poker size, and then there's the jumbo size. So that kind of gives you an idea of the different size. And you can see the painting in the background. You can see how well the colors match and everything as well. And
So use them for
they,
different things, right? So you could use them for readings, but you could also use them for meditation if you wanted to as well, journaling, etc. So lots of different ways you can use the different sizes.
yeah, and the jumbo ones you get, like, because the images are, I've been told they're busy, and they are. My brain is very busy. But the larger ones give you a better chance to see. And then actually, if you take a magnifying glass and look through the magnifying glass with both eyes, they pop out and kind of go 3D.
Oh,
So that's kind of cool as well, or as we old hippies would say, it's really trippy, man.
oh wow, and that might be the next thing that you could do with your images as well. So you could do in a gallery, perhaps you could have like a 3D effect or something, where they're projected and you can walk through your artwork and things like that. Would be amazing.
Yeah,
And I know that you've done quite a few exhibitions anyway, haven't you already?
yeah. I did one with another series of paintings that I did after I was in Grenada called Stepping into the Cosmos.
I seen that.
And yeah, and
Gorgeous. Yeah.
I had been to the Van Gogh one where it's immersible, right? You go and they have everything projected on the walls. And so I knew I couldn't quite do that. And this also happened during COVID too, so it was a little more difficult. But the Science Center, I'm just going to take a sip here. The Science Center that my family started, I went in there with some friends and we painted the walls inside a room cosmic. And then my cosmic art went on, so it was like you could see through the artwork. Excuse me. And the Science Center is very much focused on space. They have a planetarium upstairs that was actually designed by the guy who designed the Canada Arm.
Oh,
And yeah, he worked for NASA, and he was Chris Hadfield's boss. His name was um, Aikenhead. His last name was Aikenhead, and he worked with my dad. He volunteered at the Science Center with my dad, so it kind of suited the space,
mhm.
literally. And yeah, so those were paintings that I had done after going back to Grenada and seeing all of the buildings that had been Ivanized by the Hurricane Ivan that kind of decimated Grenada in 2004. And so that was kind of an inspiration to see first how um, many things were rebuilt. You know, a lot of stuff was rebuilt, but how many buildings were just left, you know, and trees growing through them and through the windows and all of that because they just couldn't be rebuilt. And then they just got hit again. The northern part of the island and the two little islands of Grenada just got hit again with Hurricane Beryl, and they're basically into the same process of rebuilding and that kind of thing. And after Hurricane Ivan, we were able to get a ton, literally a ton of seeds and relief to Grenada, to the village that we lived in. It was just an absolutely magical process. The seed company gave us all the seeds. WestJet flew them to Toronto, and then they went out through the Spice Isle Relief Organization, and it didn't cost us a dime to do all of that.
Yeah.
And so when I first met the artist that I went to Grenada with, Rebecca Shepherd, we had painted a painting that we had started by tracing around our shadows. And in that painting, I put my hand up and painted a seed. And so I told her about this story and said, oh, I always wanted to go back to Grenada. So I could hear it on the wind, Roxy, come back, right? And she said, I'd go with you. And I'm like, you would? So that was it. We just decided that we were going to go, and we did a show and sold paintings. And then as soon as we had enough money for the tickets, we bought them. And then we ended up staying right next door to the house that I lived in there years ago with my husband and son. And then we painted murals at the school that had been destroyed by Ivan, and a playground. And now there's a younger artist there in Grenada who's doing exactly that, painting playgrounds and painting murals at school. So it's all about like the little seeds that you can plant, you know, where you go, and maybe you don't get to see the tree when it's grown, but sometimes you do. As a teacher, I get my students now, I know on Facebook and it personally and stuff, and I got to see where they went and how what my teaching helped them, and then I've also had that same experience through IDEX. So it's kind of nice to be able to live this long and see, you know, the seeds that you planted grow into
Absolutely.
beautiful beings mostly.
Yeah, I loved Grenada as well. I used to live in the Caribbean, 6 months when I was in the Navy, and we saw Hurricane Mitch and Hurricane George in 1998, and similar things. They just wrecked Honduras and Nicaragua, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's traumatic, isn't it? To see exactly what it can do, it just decimates everything, takes out all of the villages. It's just really heartbreaking. Yeah.
Yeah. And that seed thing was so magical in that, you know, we went to the seed place thinking I get a box of seeds to send to my friends. And they said, you can have all of these seeds. And I'm like, well, that's great, but how am I going to get there? Right? Because it's not cheap to ship down there. And I phoned up a company called WestJet in Canada as an airplane company, whatever, airlines. And they talked to this woman there, and she said, well, the guy who owns it, and he's since sold it, but anyways, the guy who owns it, he looks on the website on this page, so write that, you know, write it there. So I wrote him a letter, and 2 days later he phoned me up and he said, can you get them to Kelowna? And I go, absolutely. And so he flew them to Toronto. And in the meantime, I was talking with a fellow in Toronto who was part of the Spice Isle Relief Organization. And I phoned him up and I said, I have a ton of seeds to send to Grenada. And he says, just a minute. I put you on speakerphone. We have the former Consul General of Grenada right here, right now. So I was speaking with him and he says, well, why did you want to do this? And I said, because we lived there. Well, where did you live? So I said, oh, Mount Moritz. Who did you live by? Like, he was really questioning me. And I said, I lived on Tonti Gap next to Uncle Everest. And he said, I know Tonti and I know Uncle Everest, and no one in your village died. So it was like, this is where I come back to Shay, my son, right? Like the whole concept of everything, right?
Yeah.
And so he got us through the Minister of Agriculture, and we had parties at our house where we repackaged all the seeds. And then another fellow from the other side of the island, he was trying to get seeds from Holland. So I messaged him and said, you know, you need to know that there's a ton coming, right? Maybe he could help with distribution, because who knows? Like, you saw the devastation. How are they going to get him around the island and
Yeah.
everything, right? And so he asked where I lived, and I said, "Oh, I'm in Vernon, BC, Canada." And he says, "Well, I'm coming there next week. I have a friend on Tronson Road." So it was just one of these things after the other
Yeah.
that were just like things just fall into place,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
you know, so he ended up arranging all the transportation when the seeds arrived in Grenada. So we knew the number of the container and all of that. And so when they opened up the container, there, someone in Toronto had put buckets and shovels in there as well. And in the meantime, they cleaned up Tonti Deli's garden, Uncle Everest's garden. They made everything ready for the seeds. And
Awesome.
so everything got to our village.
Oh,
So,
fantastic.
you know, so Grenada has like a real big place in my heart,
Yeah.
and the people there for sure, you know, and so you see it through my deck, and a lot of that is the healing that I received there from just people just really caring about you, just being so kind, and you know, you probably
Gave back.
experienced the same. Sorry?
Yeah. And the gift that you gave back as well. How amazing. Well done, you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really a fantastic experience to
Mhm.
do that, and I kind of go, you know, like I said to you before, when my son was sick, he wanted to go to Jamaica because he loved Bob Marley, right? And of course, I love Bob Marley, and now my grandchildren all love Bob Marley. So part of that is just like the positive vibrations and the energy that comes from Bob, and a lot of, you know, what he feels and stands for. And I took them to the Bob Marley movie, and they all loved it. And so I'm hoping one day that maybe I can take them to Grenada again. And that's part of, you know, you know, selling all these paintings, and just kind of being able to do something like that with my grandkids would be, that would just be the
Yeah.
icing on top of the cake, right?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Absolutely. Wow. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story, for sharing your experience, for telling us about your auction as well, and for sharing the story of your beautiful decks.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for having me. I so appreciate it. I'm hoping that there'll be some people in the UK that will be wanting to own one of these paintings. They are, you know, one of a kind. There's a series of 80 of them, so there's only 80 in the whole universe. So, you know, and it's just a rare occurrence to do this. It's the first time me being the fool and stepping out into the world with it, and hoping that all the paintings find the home where they need to be.
And we wish you good luck with it all as well. And I'm sure it's going to be really, really successful
Oh,
for you.
thank you, Janine. I really appreciate that. And it's just been great to meet you face to face after connecting before. And I just want to say about your deck, Year Between.
Oh,
What I really like about your deck is again that it's very original,
oh, thank you.
and that it just has this whole other aspect to it that no other deck on the planet has either,
Oh,
right? So it's just a wonderful concept,
oh, thank
and
you so much.
and I think that's something that I found really connected with when I started seeing your stuff, and that's why I think I reached out over online and everything, because I just thought, now here's something completely different. Here's something that's really well thought out and thought about, and just has I don't know, just so unique, and just a really interesting take on the tarot.
Oh, thank you. That's huge praise coming from you. Thanks so much.
I, I just think it's really, really cool. It's a great concept. You know, there's so much out there now that's, you know, been pirated or AI'd or whatever. I just really appreciate that it's thought process that's come forth, that you really thought about it. It's creative, it's original, it's something nobody else has done. You should be very proud of that because it's a rare thing too.
Thank you. And you absolutely so, and I love yours. Love the colours. I love colour. I really do.
Yeah. Color is very important to me. It's very uplifting. And, you know, when I started this series, and I painted what I needed to see, right? Because in many ways, I was seeing the world in black and white from the depression and loss and grief. And so I needed to have really bright color, and I needed to have, you know, and I also think that for people who purchase the deck or the paintings, that they will also receive that, right? You sit in front of it. It's art therapy just to look at it as much as it is to do it.
Healing and very therapeutic, as you said.
Exactly. And don't we need more of that in this world?
Absolutely, yes. 100%. So
My little contribution to the world.
Thank you very much. Can you please send me the links afterwards? And when I post this up, everybody, then you'll have the links, so you can go in and have a look at the auction, the prep for the auction, and also discover some more about Roxy's work as well, if you've not seen it before.
Yeah. And my webpage is roxyartwork.ca for Canada.
Thank you. Yeah, and we'll put that in there as well. So.
Okay, excellent. And I just want to say one more thank you to my son Bram, who none of this would have been possible without his superior brain, which I turn to as much as I can. And he's just been my rock through this whole experience. Yeah, just love that guy. He's just amazing.
Oh, and thank you to him, and thank you to you.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll see you again very soon.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks everyone for joining, and thank you very much, Roxy.
Okay, take good care. Bye, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
Okay.